Welcome, everybody, to another Georgia Archery podcast. I'm your host, Big John Chandler, and this is where we talk about anything and everything to do with archery in the state of Georgia and Georgia archers, wherever they may shoot. And if you're watching this, you may recognize the guy next to me. He has been very popular here lately. Every time I scroll through my Instagram and my Facebook, and I even saw him running up and down the mountains. Cody Griffin from Easton. How are you, brother?
I'm wonderful, man. Thanks for having me.
So tell everybody your position at Easton. What is that? It has a title. So
it does have a title.
Tell everybody what you do.
So like my fancy corporate title, I like to say, is I'm the promotions manager for the brand. But really what that boils down to, the day-to-day, I handle a lot of the target staff. Some of our media personnel, so like our hunting staff, I handle some of those guys. And I work with our digital marketing coordinator or manager, I should say Jay, and digital marketing coordinator, which is Nick. He's like our videographer, photographer. He's an absolute stud. So we do a lot of content together and, do a lot of recording and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, lately I've seen your 250 videos, or at least American-made archery videos. That's been pretty. Arrow videos. That's been pretty cool. So, and to see people in the factory,
Man, that's Nick and I. We were strumming up that idea. Nick, probably two months ago, maybe 3 months ago, he wanted to do these factory minute videos and kind of give the world a glimpse of what's going on inside the factory. What we're working on or something like that. So he'd grab an engineer. Hey, explain how this works. Or what are you working on this week? Or what are we working on right now? And, we wanted to kind of capitalize off that and showcase people that actually bring the product to life here. And, they're awesome individuals of people. A couple of them I've talked to, but not really as much. We don't really I work upstairs, and a lot of the folks, they have their own offices, across the plant and stuff. So we might commingle any time I go to a vending machine or something like that. Or go to a lunch training or something, we might commingle there. But it's cool to meet everybody, here and see what they do, and get to know what they do. And a lot of people, man, they love their job. Like talking to Desiree, man, she is awesome. Like one of the head engineers was bragging on, like, man, we tried to have, Desiree took some vacation time, and there were like 5 or 6 people that they needed to keep up with the capacity that she was doing. So it was cool to, interview her and, everything that she does. She's a rock star. And then,
For sure.
You got Tony and Pultrusion, so that's basically AccuCarbon. He loves the fact that, he has a process, a hand in, making metals that are going to be used, or making arrows that are going to be used in the games, to win medals. So It's really neat. And then there are so many more people that you're going to see on camera that are like, we have this one guy, his name's Charles. I call him Tony Stark because he's freaking Iron Man. Like, he's a genius. Dennis, absolute genius. Like, there's a product, that might be coming to life, if not this year, next year, maybe the following year. That Dennis has had a plan, had a role in, helping out making. So it's just cool to see everybody that, I really never really had a chance to mingle with and get to know them, how long they've been with the company. And man, there's so many people that have been here way longer than me, but you're talking 30, 40, plus years. It's really cool to see, their dedication to American manufacturing and, to see them there, that they're here that long, that means they must love what they do.
Yeah, for sure. So let's back up a little bit and let's just talk about you and how you ended up where you did. You were on the East Coast. You was on this side of the world.
Yeah. No, I got very lucky, man. And everyone asks how I got the job. It's just pure luck. That's really what it came up to be. It was God's plan, nothing else.
100%.
Like I came from the retail world. I worked at an amazing archery shop that I got to like help build up with this guy named Zach Plasica. Really famous shop. A lot of people know it, but it's called Extreme Outfitter. That's kind of where you could say, really cut my teeth, like being on social media and learning how to talk on camera and talk about product and stuff. But he was the guy. He was the guy that trusted me to help build, the brand, Extreme Outfitters within the archery space. They were already very large, and in charge in the tactical area, and they needed something, to help out. That it's kind of they create like a 4-season store almost. So
yeah, I knew they had done lots of tactical prior, and then migrated into the archery field.
Correct.
On that. So that was cool. They're great guys. I've met those guys before too. So.
Man, they're awesome. Like every event, if we're at an event together, I make sure to like to definitely hang out with those guys, see how close we can get our booths together, see if there's any kind of promotional opportunities that we can strike up, whether they're selling the Easton brand in their tent, see if I can help them sell through some product and stuff like that, or help them with some content, however it might be. And they're just a really good archery shop, and it's cool to say that I had a little play in that, a very small play. And the guys out of there now, they're killing it. I mean, they're so awesome.
Oh yeah, doing good.
It's freaking awesome to see, shops grow in general. Like Extreme's just one account. There's so many other accounts out there who kill it every single day, and they do justice to the brands, that are in their store, whether it's the Easton brand or, the Hoyt brand or the Matthews brand, PSE, Victory, whatever it might be. So it's really cool to see the industry thriving because of really good shops like you're at. So.
Yeah, this is, my Georgia Archery has been around, for 13, 14 years, but I have been working in archery business in a couple of different shops, and I've been 10 years at the Ace Archery, and everybody knows where I've been. Yep. There's no doubt about it. Everybody knows where I work at. So, and we try, like you said, we strive to just be the best we can and help the customer the best we can, and we like dealing with manufacturers that are made in America and believe into hard work and American way. Mm-hmm. So. And I just so happened, Steve Anderson can tell you the story about this tattoo on my arm. They told me that I could never leave a different brand since they put their original Easton logo.
OG logo.
That is their original Easton logo on my arm. So
that is epic.
I will say that Easton paid for it, so it's okay.
Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Was that the year ATA where we were doing tattoos?
It was the year that ATA was giving out tattoos. Yeah. And Steve hollered at me. He says, "Big John, come here." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "You need a tattoo." I was like, "No, I don't have to have a tattoo." He goes, "Well, you've already got one. You need another one." I said, "Okay." So I picked that,
Dude, I'll tell you, at Pennsylvania Tac, there was a lady, I believe her name's Cheyenne. She was doing tattoos. She was booked up, dude. Running out of ink, booked up. It was awesome.
It's that way every time. I mean, it's not. I mean, us archers are a breed of our own. You know what I mean? So we like to wear logos and show off our pride for sure. Definitely. But hunting season is coming.
Yep.
Tournament season winding down. So maybe I can get some 25s back in stock.
Honestly, I think they're literally this week is when they're supposed to be finished. That arrow, honestly, I went down there and talked to the guys that are in charge of those work orders, and I'm like, I weren't trying to bust their chops, but I was kind of like, hey, what's up with this? I know we've been at it for a while, and they're like, yeah, we've sold 16 times more than we've ever had. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, this is our best year, I think, ever with Super Drive 23 and 25. And I'm like, you're kidding. He goes, yeah, it is really taken off. And I'm like, that's a lot of that is due to our staff. Our pro staff, we've created a more engaging pro staff, which is, that was kind of what I really wanted to focus on is, how well could our staff promote, but not in a sleazy way or a sales pitchy way, but just be authentic and talk about, man, this is a really good arrow. I'm seeing improvements in my score. You might want to pick some up and play with it yourself, or, here's the ins and outs. This is how this arrow's made. These are the components, that really hold this arrow together and, hit 12 rings. And 25 is a popular diameter right now, too, though. I think a lot of companies are focusing on that. And it's the sweet spot that a lot of people, even a lot of women, I
was going to say,
shorter draws, lower poundage, whatever it might be, can get away with it.
It's about the biggest arrow that you can get tuned very well, without a lot of trouble.
Yes.
And so that's why I push it. I mean, I shoot it, and a lot of folks out of the shop shoot
for indoor. Because it just hit the middle a lot for me.
Yeah, I did not shoot it for indoor. I actually shot 27s.
That's what I shot 27-12s. Yeah, 27-12.
So. I mean, and then I have a set of 23s that I can actually outscore 300s with, but I just don't hit as many X's with. Does that make sense?
No, 100%. Mikey's the same way. Talking to Mike Slosher, I think he ended up shooting 27s this year, but he says, man, my 23-15s just hit more X's. They're more middle.
Yeah.
For
more
him.
middle. When you have a you're farther out.
Yeah.
But when you're playing the World Archery game, it doesn't matter if you're this far off the X or if this far off the X. It's still a 9.
Shoots way more World Archery events than NFA and.
For sure.
He'll shoot Vegas. I don't think we'll see him at Rushmore. I don't think he'll be there, but he'll shoot Vegas. He'll shoot Lancaster and. Maybe indoor Nats. He might go to indoor national still. I think he's been there a time or two, but. Other than that, 23s in the European. Honestly, I wouldn't be mad if NFA went to 23s, like a 23 diameter arrow restriction. Truthfully, I wouldn't because
I understand. The rest of the world doesn't use it. So, I remember a year that Steve Anderson didn't bring any skinny arrows because he didn't assume he was going to make the cut for the World Archery, and he had to borrow Mikey's arrows to shoot.
Yeah, that's funny.
That was funny, but so that hunting arrows are coming in. So let's talk about hunting arrows.
Yes, sir.
You have a good line all the way through, from budget to top end, great arrows. Mm-hmm. And for the guy who's looking for the heavy arrow, you got that. You got every piece covered. So let's just start on the low end for the guy who's just starting out. He's going to shoot white-tailed deer in the east. He's the guy who picks up his bow just during bow season. He's not going to spend a lot of money. What arrow would you suggest?
You got to go 6.5. That's the standard. It's standard diameter is what we call it in the industry.
Yep.
And that arrow's made in this plant. Like I can walk 100 feet that way and go into probably 200 feet, I should say, and go into our AccuCarbon side and, pull some off, But it's the cool thing about that arrow. So it's 6.5 diameter, standard diameter. It's a great price point arrow. It is made on the same machines that make the Easton 5.0, the Sonic 6.0, the 5mm Axis. It's made on the 5mm FMJ Max, the FMJ. It's made on the same machine, so that way you're getting a quality product, from the source, from the start. It's not made on any different machine. It's made on the same machines.
For sure. So that's the budget arrow. And it's nothing wrong with that arrow. I'm not knocking it at all. We sell a truckload of them. So
that's probably, it sells probably more than the 5.0, to shops. That arrow, honestly, a lot of people should look at shooting a 6.5 or 6.5 Classic, or match grade shaft. I think personally, and there's other people in the industry that have said the same thing. I don't want to feel like I'm regurgitating, information, but I think a lot of people shoot a little bit bigger shaft better, than they do a micro diameter shaft or a super small skinny arrow. I think sometimes they're more forgiving for a lot of people, including me. Like me, I'll tell you, a Sonic 6.0. I can get away with murder with that shaft. I can have the worst release ever, like rip through a hinge or smash a button. And the 6.0 doesn't really show it as much as like a 4mm Axis might for me, or like a 5.0 for me. So.
Exactly. So that would be the next arrow we'd step into, right? Would be the Sonic.
That's the most underrated arrow in our lineup, bar none.
Yeah.
Bar none.
So the Sonic arrow was probably the tack arrow of the arrow before the 5.0, in my opinion. The guy would be like, I'm looking for something that's a little smaller, and lighter, but I don't want to spend tons of money because I don't want to break, I'm gonna lose them, so that I don't want to spend, hunting money, which is amazing to me because think if I sling an arrow at a deer and it breaks because he leg kick, whatever, I plan on, I dedicate that arrow to that animal. So I don't, I don't look.
I don't reuse them. If they go through something, I'm like, I'm not shooting this again. I'm gonna put it on.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but it's amazing to me how they go. I'm not, I'll buy the whatever the top end. We'll get to them in a minute, but I'll buy the top end arrows to hunt with, but I don't, to shoot targets with. I just want to try something else. I'm like, okay, so we do lean in that middle. So that 6.0 Sonic, you can get it in match grade, you can get it in regular, you can get it, so you have you can get the bigger vanes on it, or you can go with a regular blazer type vane. So it's great things to do on that thing.
Look at Paige Pierce, what she's done with that arrow this year in the ASA. She's
for sure.
Destroyed folks with truthfully, a lot of other folks are shooting 23 diameter arrows or 25s. Paige is rolling up in there in a 6mm arrow, basically a 19 series arrow, and working people with that. That's how awesome that arrow is.
Well, I will tell you a story that David Cousins told me 1 billion years ago. If you're in the middle, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. I'd rather have something hit behind the pin than catches a line.
Exactly.
Yep.
There's a lot of people saying, I'm looking for line catchers. I'm like, your bow won't tune that line catcher.
Nope. There ain't no such thing as a line catcher.
No. So as far as that goes, that's a great arrow all around, sort of, a little, not the bottom shelf, but not the top shelf. And then you move into, which has been, I'm assuming, the holy grail for a zillion years. I mean, an Axis.
Yes.
And the Axis has been, I shot Axis forever.
Almost 23 years it's been in the market.
Yeah. So, and then, that's all carbon.
Yep.
And then now they have it in 2 varieties. For the longest time, we only had a 5mm.
Yep.
We had injections.
I remember those. Yeah. Carbon
injection. So the injection was the 4mm, but you had to have deep 6 insert, so forth, and so and that sort of played its way out. It wasn't as popular as people thought it was going to be.
It was a heavier shaft too.
Yeah, and so Easton did a great thing by turn around and pivoted to the Axis, using the best brand name they were as a 4mm. So long range, great arrow, penetrates. I tell everybody, it's like an ice pick through Kevlar. That was the old thing. It just less drag. So
I've got some in my quiver right now. So their 4mm Axis is an awesome, absolutely awesome arrow. And the unique diameter about that, like you mentioned, deep 6. We still make some deep 6 hit inserts, for 4mm.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to run that system, and honestly, it's the most accurate system you can run instead of a half out.
For sure.
There are options out there. There are some broadhead companies out there still making deep 6.
Yeah, there's not many though. That was the downside to it. There for a little while, everybody had some, but it just didn't take enough of the market. And I understand that too. We have to do what we got to do. But let's go back to 5mm, because the 5mm is probably across the board just the most popular arrow.
Industry wide, for sure.
Yeah, to hunt with, and because it's the last size that you can put an insert in.
Yep.
So, with the hit insert, collar over the top, or you can get a half out that butts up against so it doesn't overcover that. There is plenty of options in 5mm. And FMJs were, 6mm, I didn't sell any, but the 5mm I sold a lot of.
Oh, yeah.
And so, because of the 5mm being the most popular. And then I think the FMJ Max is an underrated arrow right now, because people are they've sort of moved away from the aluminum thing and carbon has come a long way. You really can can get it that way. Carbon has come a long way. So
yeah, if you told me I only had one option to take in one arrow and go chase every game possible, from whether it's anything from Africa to North America to wherever, I'm probably going to pick a 5mm FMJ Max. Just because it's going to penetrate better because it's slick coating, on the outside. That aluminum is very slick, especially when it hits, a liquid like blood.
Yep.
And the other thing is, man, from a factory standpoint, they are straight. It's aluminum. You can't get any straighter than that, especially when it's married up to carbon.
Yep.
And it's not heavy anymore. FMJ went on a diet, man. It got shredded. And
yeah.
I've got some 5mm Axis and 5mm FMJ Max. I think there's a third of a grain difference per GPI or per inch.
Yeah.
GPI with a 340, and I can build them literally within 5 or 6 grains, maybe 10 grains total. I don't see that in my side tape. I know I'm not good enough, and probably the rest of the market's not good enough to tell the difference in that. Truthfully, the rest of the world, pro or not,
for sure.
But, like that arrow, it's awesome, and they're easy to pull out of a target. It's 109 degrees yesterday here in Salt Lake City. The last thing I want to do is struggle pulling an arrow out of a target. I want that thing to come out so I can go back in the shade and shoot.
For sure. But yeah, that's a lot of different good arrows. And then we move up. The 5.0 was, probably the newest, most popular after, since it came after the parallel.
Yep.
And I think it took off.
It went off like a rocket ship, man. I don't think. I knew deep down, and I had talked with some of our engineering team and some guys in sales, and I was like, I don't think we're ready. We're going to sell a boatload of these. And sure enough, it beat everyone's expectations in what we thought we were going to move. We knew it was going to do extremely well.
Yep.
We knew what the number was for it to be considered a success, and it beat the forecast 7 or 8 times. For what we predicted it was going to do.
Yeah. Well, that's the arrow that I'm actually shooting, and I'll tell you, I shot a 340 Axis, right? For a while, 5mm and 4mm. So I took the 5.0, went to a 300, and put a 75 grain nose on it,
Oh, yeah.
and turned around and had more FOC, and still didn't change, but like you said, that 10 or 12 grains difference between arrows, and I was like, man, yes, I have a stiffer arrow, more front of center.
Yep.
The thing just flies awesome.
It does, man. That arrow shocked me. So we had built some up. We actually had them labeled with Axis decal labels, so we could go and shoot them at tags and see how they do and stuff like that.
Yeah, you got to test them.
Yeah. And I think I was one of the last guys to get some of those, and I was so annoyed because 340s were stiff for me with the 5.0. Yep. And I had a full 75 grains, 75 grains in this thing, 100 grain point, 125 grain point I tried. And they were acting a little bit knock right. They were just acting stiff, through paper, a little bit knock right. And I was like, maybe it's hand torque. Well, just to get it off my conscience, I'm like, there's no way I should be able to shoot a 400 at 74 pounds. With a 27-inch shaft, 26.5-inch shaft. Well, I was already annoyed so bad, I plugged the whole 75 grains and put a 125 grain field point on the 400 that I cut to the same length as that 340, and shot bare shaft after bare shaft, hole after hole, fletched arrow meeting bare shaft all day long at 20 yards, and I could not believe it. So I'm between a 400. If I chop now, I've got a little bit more poundage. I chop it at 26 inches or so, 25 and 7/8 carbon to carbon. And I can have 200 grains on the front end of a 400. And it is a beast. That thing flies. It flies so great. It flies awesome. But a 340, I'll leave it a little bit longer. And then I still keep about 200 grains on the front of it. And I don't calculate. I just don't never calculated FOC. I try to stay 150 to 200 grains up front. And if it flies like crap, I'll cut some weight off of it, to see what it does if it flies better. My goal is just arrow flight. I just want it to fly as flawlessly as possible, and then group as good as possible too. So
I understand. But yeah, that's a great arrow. And then it's probably, like I said, it's probably been, it not that it hurt something. I mean, Axis has been around forever, but it took off and, now sort of balanced
Cannibalized a
out
little
some
bit
of
of
it.
Axis for sure.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
And it took a lot of market share from other companies. We saw that as well. So that was our ultimate goal.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what a company's in business for, right?
Yeah. Competition breeds innovation, baby. Like, that's the thing.
100%, for sure. But yeah, that's cool. So let's just talk about your setup. So this year you've picked out your bow, you picked out your arrows. So give us a rundown of what you're shooting, and then I'll give a rundown of what I'm going to shoot.
So I've got a couple different setups, and I'm still tinkering. So this is like the beautiful thing about working at Easton, but also the polarizing thing is you have access to everything, and you don't know what you want to play with, like at the end of the day. So first off, I'm running an AX32 or AX232. So I love a 32-inch axle length bow. I just feel like I shoot those bows better for some reason, like a 31 to 32-inch bow. I can get away with a 33, but 32 is like the sweet spot for me. It's like right around 76, 77 pounds. It's 27 and a quarter, I think, on the draw length right now. I shoot about 80% let off. So I'm holding roughly around 14 pounds, 13 pounds, which is a sweet spot for me for a hunting setup. And then for rest, I'm rocking an AE Prophecy QD, like that. I also like the MX2 as well. MX2 is a cool rest, very quiet, very light. But right now on the bow is the Prophecy. For a sight, I'm kind of floating around. Like I like the dialed sight. But right now I've got a Excel sight on there. One of the drivers, the Picatinny sights on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sight that I'm really looking to want to play with, or just like get my hands on it and feel one again, is that new black gold. So the black gold, people call it the mod.
Whenever they ship.
Yeah, the mod is going to be either it's I picked one up in Pennsylvania, and I should have gave some more attention to it because I picked it up. I'm like, oh, it's pretty nice, But then looking at pictures, I'm like, man, why didn't I notice that feature last time when I picked it up? So now, I'm excited to see that. I think actually Tate is coming into Utah tomorrow, so I'm gonna play with his sample a little bit. I'm just gonna hold it and just fiddle around. He's got to get some stuff from me, but but that's that stuff. Stabilizers, I play around with all kinds of screw bars. I really like the Quattro bars right now. They're cool. They've got some USA themed bars. But arrow setup, man, I have got 4 different shafts I'm playing with. It is not even like a 5.0. Playing around with a 5.0. I'm playing around with a 4mm axis, FMJ Max, and a 5mm axis. And the crazy thing is I have the way I have these shafts built. Some of them are shorter, some of them are longer than one another. But they all weigh between 430 and 440 right now. They're a 10 grain difference. And just how I have my stuff set up and tuned, at 60 yards, they're all I think the 4mm axis is the heaviest, and it shoots about 1.5 inches lower at 60 yards than the rest of the shafts do. But the FMJ Max and the axis are 2 grains apart, the way I've got them built. And then the 5.0 is right between the FMJ Max axis and the 4mm axis. So it's 435. And they all, at 60 yards, actually I shot them at 80 the other day, and I think the 4mm axis is still about 2.5 inches lower than the rest of the field. But I'm not mad about that for me. I could just add a yard, if I wanted to go with that. But that's the 4 arrow setups that I'm tinkering in.
But Tristan's got you hooked up. All you got to do is put all your data in and print one out. It's easy.
Yeah.
That is the
honestly,
most.
I've done that on the target bow. I haven't done that on the hunting bow yet. The hunting bow, all I did was do a 20, a 60, and I did a 70 just to see how close it was going to be. And I just threw a freaking one of those laser tapes from Excel on there. But I'll probably do a little backup tape. I'll probably do a little backup tape with precision cut, and then see which one is closest with those metal scales. I like metal. Metal's hard to wipe off.
That's what we've been doing. We have the software, I have the printer, and we charge guys for us to do the measurements, and we go off of not three different distances, just the chronograph speed,
And dude, I did that with my target bow, and it was on the dot. Like at 101, getting ready for Reading, it was on the money.
That's the funny part. Like, so when we did it, I said, hey, we're going to test this. And I tested with one of our staff shooters, his hunting bow, because he's not a tournament guy. He just he shoots tournaments with his hunting bow. So I printed it, and he sat in the range. He got his 20. He stuck it on. He went straight home at 111 yards. Just rolled it down, 111, and shot all of them in the center dot on the.
I believe it.
New Delta McKenzie target. Yep. So
Tristan's a wizard with the stuff he's got.
Right.
Him and James, he got some black magic going on with his software.
Sure.
Have you seen the stuff with his chronograph, like using the microphone as a chronograph? I remember talking to him when the ballistic study was going. I was like, I wonder why we couldn't, like, if it's just recording a pitch or like a noise coming back. I wonder if a microphone could pick it up. And I know his wheels were turning, And I think he had already been playing, with that stuff. But it was like, I recall that conversation. I recall asking me about that stuff. So,
yeah, he's always working on something and to make it better. To make it cleaner on the print. The 3-yard, 2-yard dot inside the, so I don't have to look up a chart to figure out my short distances.
Yep.
I mean, it's been pretty cool to shoot field with that tape for sure.
Yes,
and it's been on, So let's talk about my hunting bow and what I'm going to hunt with this year. So this year I'm running the Ultra. So I like a little longer bow. So I'm shooting the Ultra. I have the B3 exact links.
That's a good sight, man. Those guys make good products.
Yeah. So I've been friends with those guys forever. The same guy who's been there in the same factory for the same. We can go through that if we want to, but it's in the same building, the same thing that has been building sites forever. I know all those guys and Joe and them.
Joe's awesome.
So I rock their stuff. I haven't decided about which scope I'm going to shoot right now. It has an Ultra View. The large XL with running a single pin, and of course we're in Georgia, right? Ultra View right around the corner.
25
So we're right here, so I'm trying to support local too. With Ultra View. So I got Ultra View bars front and back, and I'm running it at 74 pounds at 29 inches with my 300 50. With a 75 grain titanium front and 100 grain tip. And I'm running 4-fletch, which is always, this is a big, but I'm running TAC 4-fletch 225s.
There you go.
So TAC is actually,
company, yeah.
Yeah. So TAC is actually one exit up off of 20 from us. So they're just around the corner. So,
Makes getting product easy.
Well, So we just say, hey Randy, I need the whatever, and it takes longer for us to ship it than it does for us to just go up there and pick it up.
Oh, no doubt. I just drive up there.
Just run at lunchtime and go get it. But so we use TAC vanes a lot, just because they're right here, local company, good guys, they do Schwacker, and so we sell a lot of Schwacker broadheads, and. They do that come here deer, which we're.
I thought that's what they were really known for, and they
that's what they started. That's how he started. Keith Kelly started with that. He actually has some other stuff that's not even hunting related that has been in the business a long time. Pennington Seed. He worked for them for many years, and then,
I've heard of them. Yeah.
And then broke off onto his own thing. So. With Seven Dust and some other things. Everybody knows that kind of product. So he does garden stuff on top of. This was just a side job for him, to get in there with the career deer. Yeah, the fun side. So that's what I'm running. Hamsky Rest, the new R7.
That's a great product. Wonderful product.
Finally, they made it easy to access. All right.
Yeah.
As far as how the screws are and everything. So I'm very happy with it, and it fits on the attachment so that we don't have to. That was the longest. That was the big argument back and forth with two aero companies that had to, figure out the ins and outs of who owned that product and how they could all use it. So sort of like the pick on the front. The pick on the front is almost on every bow there is now.
We bought that, I believe, to the market first.
Other than Matthews with their bridge locks.
Correct. Yep.
And then Bowtech did their center mass technology, which was sort of a different take on the bridge lock, and it didn't go over as well to the point that they made an adapter to put into their
for pick.
Yeah. Well, you got to think if you're a sight company and you're going to make sights for a pick and a bridge lock, because those are the number one, number two bow companies in the world are using those two things. So, do you want to make something particular for a bow company that's not as,
Well, so smart for Bowtech to pivot, though, for them to recognize, hey, we can still keep our design, but we can alter it.
Yep. Just put
another design.
Build an adapter to make it work. That's right.
Yep.
As far as bows go, nobody makes a bad bow these days. They really don't. I like the Hoyts. I like the.
I'm partial to them. Yeah.
The company that's been good. Like I said, I remember with Easton when Steve was with Easton, and then he pivoted over to Hoyt, and so. And I shot a different brand for many years. I shot PSE for 26 years.
Dude, I've got something like that on the wall. Levitate, PSE levitates.
Yep.
Some of my favorite shooting bows. I've got two of them, and they're awesome platforms. Yep. They make another American-made company. They make a great product
for sure. Mm-hmm.
I think you still need the big three. You need three to four big bow companies. And when I mean by big, of course the other three aren't going to be the biggest or whatever it is. I don't know who you consider number one or not, but you need two or three to help drive the other two.
Well, for sure. Somebody's got. If you only had one, right? Life would be boring if we went to a car lot and bought one car. Yeah. And it was all blue.
Same thing with arrows, man. People, ask me oh, I'm sorry I'm shooting this, but I'm like, dude, don't apologize. I want to hear why you shoot it first off. But
exactly.
I want the feedback. I want to know what drove you to the point of purchase with that, and why not Easton? First off, why that brand, and is there anything we can do to make up ground? Somewhere for losing ground, and
100%.
Like Victory, they make a great product. Black Eagle, Gold Tip. There's a lot of companies. Making really good stuff. Ultra's coming on, new to the scene, and you've seen companies go away, the G5 arrow. That's kind of they're kind of gone, and then you see companies revive themselves, out of nowhere, like Carbon Express. They're on our heels, in the target space.
Working hard to take a bite out of the competition. It's the way it's supposed to be.
I can't blame them. That's the goal. And, we lost probably a little bit of ground in the 5mm world, because companies were coming out with some really awesome 5mm products, and now
for sure
we've taken a lot of that ground back, if not all of it. And there's a lot of cool things on the horizon from our brand, and I think now in our product development cycle, and then our sales and marketing team, we listen, we're very keen on the market and listening. Dude, I call shops every week just to hear, hey, what's going on in the world today? Or hey, I'm Cody from Easton. I just doing some marketing feedback, just seeing how we're doing. How's the Easton brand do there? Is there anything you guys hate about our brand or hate about our products that we should know? Or, and then, you'll get some shops, and I love it when people say, yeah, I hate this. And I'm like, why is it like that? I'm like, oh, that's a good question. I'll find out for you. But, I like taking feedback, and, whether it's constructive or there's people who are negative, it's all good to me. We use it for, to make the next product. And then when we call them back a year later, hey, what do you think about this? We tried to fix this. Oh, it's freaking awesome. You guys crushed it. You guys did exactly what it is. We're up, our numbers are up $30,000, $40,000 or whatever it might be, some random number. And it's whoa, we're growing.
Yep.
It's cool to see that we're taking that feedback, that constructive criticism, and we're able to grow our brand that way. So, I mean, the brand's already been grown so big. I mean, everyone's heard of Easton. I mean, even if you're not in archery, you know the brand.
I mean, yeah. So I'm talking about that. Easton name, like for archery, somebody says, I saw I shoot Easton arrows, and they go, people who make baseball bats. I was like, yeah, but he made arrows first. Way first, yeah.
Like years before that.
Yeah.
Well, 40
I said he made arrows first, Yeah. And they go like, really? I was like, yeah, that's where it started. I mean, he just expanded off of. I mean, when you aluminum extrusion, and you can do lots of things with it,
Yep.
So so Easton as a brand is great. And they support the archery world. Not just like you just said, you're not in here bashing anybody else. You know that everybody needs competition. Everybody needs to
That's how the industry grows. That's the thing you need to focus on, is growing that industry. And there's not one company that can do it. It's a culmination of a lot of brands together, a lot of shooters, a lot of bow hunters, a lot of advertising agencies. That's how the industry grows. It's not through one company directly.
Yeah,
one company can help other companies, pop up and grow.
Oh yeah,
That's cool.
it happens all the time. Like, hey, let's somebody says, hey, I can do that, and let's see if I can do it better. And they get a little piece of the puzzle. The pie is only so big, and I understand that. But we
got to grow it. That's the thing. If we focus on growing it instead of constantly trying to chop each other's section of it out, which I think we're growing. And I think that's consensus. If you look at it from a 5-year span, archery is done berserker numbers. I mean, it's grown probably more in the last 5 years than it has in 10 years.
Well, I will say that recreational archery has grown. Yeah. I hate to say that hunting has not grown, and I still believe that.
The only reason why talking with shops, you're either up or you're down. If you're up a lot, or some shops are flat, and some shops are like, we're down like 0.5% or whatever it might be, But I think the hunting side is growing just from looking at hunting. Like, Target makes up a little bit of, Target makes up some of our sales numbers, of course.
Oh,
but
of course.
Hunting makes up, a vast majority of it.
For sure.
I think we're growing a little bit in hunting, just from what I'm seeing. And, the numbers might not grow from, like, the individual hunters might not, but I think the amount of money flowing in the hunting market is more than what it has been.
Yeah, and I'll give you a caveat on that, is the recreational archer is not the tournament archer. It's not the guy who's going out and buying the top end, 25s or whatever. He's buying 6.5s to shoot in his backyard.
Yep.
And he may hunt, he may shoot a squirrel, or may, a buddy may take him to a 3D shoot, and he's got a hunting bow, but he's a recreational archer. Yep. He's not the dedicated deer hunter that's going to pack it up and scent spray and scout out and hung 17 cameras and 15 different food plots. And he's also not the guy who's plotting to be. Yeah, he's not, and he's also not the guy who's planning to go to every TAC event and every ASA event and every local whatever. Yeah. But he's the guy that, like, hey, there's a 3D shoot close, I'm gonna go shoot it, right?
Well, I think with TAC, like you just mentioned them, they're selling out everywhere and they're adding more events.
Exactly.
So that makes me wonder. The guys, that recreational crowd might be coming a little bit more hardcore.
Yeah, you're right, but that's the thing, is they're like, hey, I'll go to a local, closest TAC, right? Yeah. I mean, the coolest part about TAC is, I love ASA to death. I cut my teeth, made some money, had a good time, shot ASA. I just shot state championship this weekend, and we had a good time. But TAC is just a different monster, right? And the guy that doesn't care about competing feels like, I can go over there and do it. Well, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm a fat guy. Climbing that mountain's killed me, son.
It killed me, brother. Trust me, I was puffing and puffing in Pennsylvania. And in Utah, I am miserable. I shot one TAC course in Utah 2 years ago. And I'm going to tell you what, it broke me off the mountain. I'm not ready for 9,000 feet of altitude, puffing and puffing. I'm a Seacoast kid. Like, I grew up at 0, flat land.
I understand. That's what I'm saying. But it's a whole lot of fun. I tell everybody they all should try it. They all should do, at least something, And I told the bow hunter guys that come in my shop, I'm like, you should try that. Why? I'm like, because nobody cares if you miss every target.
Yeah.
Nobody's sitting there watching, writing a score. I said, go laugh, giggle, and help your buddy up the mountain because he's going to need it,
Yep. I tell you, the event I'm excited for is bow hunter games.
That's where I was moving to next, was bow hunter games. Since now you're combining the recreational archer, the competitive archer, putting it in an event that's spectator friendly.
Yes. Tons
of vendors.
I'm pumped, man.
Music, fun, the whole shebang, right?
Yep.
I hope it goes off.
Are you going?
12? No.
Oh.
That is the wrong time for me to leave an archery shop.
I get it.
Our season opens. We are 60 days today.
Yeah.
And our season opens. So, yeah, that's definitely not that we will 4 bow presses will be running nonstop from now until then.
Okay. I got you.
So that's the only reason. I would want to. Now I got a lot of my staff, store staff, that I'm trying to get to go.
You should, man. I think this is a great step in the right direction for archery, not just from a target participation standpoint, but figuring out how to blend that amateur crowd and that professional target archery crowd. And, and I think, and I've talked with some of our staff on it, and I'll have a meeting with our staff, whether it's, a couple group meetings or just passing. But, I think a lot of our crowd is going to be going there, the professional side, talking to the amateurs. And, they get the message. It's not how well did you shoot today. It's like, man, how much fun did you have? What was the funnest course you've done so far?
For sure.
And when they learn that, our staff, like the target archers, the pros, that they can be there and be serious, but they can also have fun and talk fun, as well. I think that's going to open up a lot of eyes and ears. Like, man, I can hang out with these guys. Like, they don't take themselves so seriously. Like, you're not talking to Tiger Woods of archery, over here. You're talking to Robert Householder or Mikey, whoever might be there, Matthias or, someone like that. And dude, they're everyday people. They put on their pants the same way. Like, there's nobody that I've ever been starstruck with by an archery.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know if I've ever been starstruck by anybody. Like, I've met some wild, crazy people, and at the end of the day, everyone puts their pants on the same way, and they're, freaking Greg Easton. Greg knows my name. That's that's enough for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one else can. If no one else really you don't get fazed by it. But I think when we bring those two sectors of the archery, the industry together, and they can commingle and figure out, hey, we can have fun with one another, and we can be serious on the course on the money side, and we can have the amateurs, if they want to join and have fun on the money course, by all means. And dude, I'll tell you, if you're an amateur and you're listening to this, you would be foolish not to go to this thing and register for the money class. And the reason why I'm saying that is, if you just shut up and listen, you will learn way more than you ever will at any seminar. Than you ever will, except for probably a George Riles seminar or a Joel Turner, seminar. Those two I'd consider very high class. But, you're going to learn so much just from watching and asking a question or two every other target. You're in an information gold mine, And then from the target archer's perspective, you'd be dumb not to go there because, one, you're going to have all these vendors and sponsors that are there that you're going to be able to talk to, figure out what they might be missing from a promotional standpoint, whether it's advertising, media, how they can be a better pro staff member. But there's also going to be other companies, I believe, that are not in the archery space that you can take notes from on how to be a better, promoter or how to be a better professional.
Professional. That's right.
Crazy not to be there. It is. I hope it's the biggest attended. I hope it's bigger than Vegas, and I love Vegas. I hope it's bigger than Lancaster. I love Lancaster, but I hope this is the right step for, for the tournaments to grow overall. Like if this is a giant tournament, maybe some of those amateurs, man, they're like, man, I might want to try indoor archery. I might want to go register for Lancaster because I had a great time, talking to Paige or, talking to Caitlin Boardwell, whoever it might be, I might register and go to Vegas because, man, I had so much fun, at the bow hunter games. Like Vegas, I've always wanted to go for one thing. Now I get to go and shoot my bow at 20 yards, and get 3 days of shooting. And, I get to go watch the finals after. Like, this could be a big step for every other event for the next year.
Yeah, I hope it's a launching pad.
I do too.
And Josh did say one thing that I caught, but some people may not have caught in one of his interviews was it's Archery Shooters Association. It doesn't say 3D.
Correct.
So, and like Josh, I've sat and talked to him, and I tell him, I've never been a guy who would bring a problem without offering a solution. And
Yes,
I've always been that guy, right? If I think there's a problem, I'm gonna say, hey, this is how I think it would help. And I've always talked to Josh that way. We've talked several times, And it just so happens me and Scott Parrott are like, we've been knowing each other for God knows how long. Yep. So
all those guys, Ken, Scott, Josh, I have a great time with them.
Oh, for sure. Well, we're talking about, I'll tell you the most fun I ever had at any type of event. As I shot Bowtech, and they had the Bowtech rally. And that was a lot like what this is planning to be.
Yeah.
It was 7 courses. We ate filet mignon at evening,
Awesome.
And to sit at the table and talk with all of their top pros at the time, which they had several, Paige being one of them. I've been knowing Paige since she was 11 years old. So, a long time now.
Yeah.
But, Tate, and, at that time, and they had just been bought, and they were there and they were making some changes. And I turned around and told him my thoughts. I was like, this is not going to work. And he's like, I think it is. I'm like, well, I just don't think it is. And that's when I made the move. Like I said, I shot PSE for 26 years. 24 of those I shot PSE. 2 of those years I was signed with Hoyt. So I shot Hoyt for 2 years out of the 26 years of traveling, truly shooting tournaments, right? And then I moved to left PSE when they, Pete, there was a big change.
Yep.
Yeah, and knowing Pete was fixing to go, there was a big change, and I went to Bowtech then. And, had a great time, great products, watched some stuff move, the different things, change and do. And then they went through a change, and I was like, I can go with a company that I know has been around a good time. And
they love target archery than Hoyt boys do. I'm going to tell you that. From the top down, Kurtzall, I'm fortunate enough that I could say he'll probably tell me I'm not his friend after this. But I consider Zach a buddy. Like we get together and we BS and have a good time at tournaments and talk trash. And he loves target archery, man. He lives it up. And he loves bow hunting too.
Yeah.
And you got a freaking world champion managing their staff. You got Steve.
Yep.
You had some great minds that were there. Brian just left, and it wasn't nothing Hoyt's fault. It was I don't even need to speak on it. He just went back home to be a family in Kentucky.
Exactly.
Opportunity there.
Yep.
But they have other world class engineers. You got Kevin Shamblin, Daniel. You got some absolute studs. You got Gideon in there. Like, it's really cool to see how much they care, about the sport. And I know a lot of other brands care about target archery. I just have never been that close with anyone internal like that, like I am with those guys, down the road. So,
well, I understand that, but my story is I grew up, and I picked up a bow out of my uncle's closet. He had tried it and didn't like it, right? And so I was like, "Can I try this?" And he's like, "Sure, I don't care. I'm not doing that crap. I'll just wait for gun season." Okay, so I couldn't pull its sucker back for crap. It was a Browning with wooden limbs and the whole 9 yards.
It was like a Browning Micro Midas or something like that.
No, this was actually older than that. It's got wooden limbs on it. So anyway, so I learned to shoot it. Had a 6.5-inch overdraw. I was drawing that thing back past my ear, because of, everybody shot 30 inches back then.
Oh, yeah.
Aluminum arrows,
Yep.
23 14s, so
probably thunderheads on the front of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Killed my first animal, but I'd push that sucker under the bed and pull out the rifle as soon as it was time, right? And I did that for a little while, and at 15, I decided that I wanted all of my money was going to go to buy a bow. Give me all my birthday money. I'm going to buy one that actually fits. I'm going to the shop, and I'm going to have them fit me for a bow so that it's my bow. Yeah. And I took that bow, and I shot 126 animals with that bow.
Holy moly.
From the time I was 15 till the
That's
time
called killing right there. That ain't hunting, that's killing.
We fill up freezers, baby.
Yeah.
And so, and it was, still aluminum arrows. I mean, watch the arch, go in, eat, and I fell in love with it. And it got to be where I'd keep the bow in my hand a little longer. And, then I showed up at a shoot, and somebody says, "Hey, I think you shoot pretty good. Let me, they gave me my first tournament bow, right?
Awesome.
And then went from there to, hey, let's go, and I shot with Travis. Showed up, he wasn't T-Bone then, but he's T-Bone now.
He shot down back in the day.
Yeah, so we shot.
Is what I heard.
So I shot PSE and he shot Browning.
Yep.
That was back in the day, and there's a story, and he'll kill me for this story, but, we went to get our shooter shirts, and our guy says, "Hey, I can't afford them shirts to fit y'all fellas. Y'all some big fellas. I ain't got no shirts to fit y'all." I'm like, dude, that's crazy. Because, we were both, we ain't no little fellas.
Yeah.
And so I said, Travis, I said,
y'all know how to cook, man. That's the thing. Y'all like flavorful food. I like it.
So, I built shirts. I actually called the factory, got the guy to send me the graphics. And I had somebody, make us the shirts that look just like everybody else's, but it was in our size,
Exactly.
So,
he's a good old Georgia boy too, isn't he? Travis?
Yeah, he is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Travis is right. He's over in Hogansville. Been there forever. So, and like I said, he shot that, and then he went to Hoyt, and
he's been with him a long time.
Yeah, he's been with Hoyt for a long time, and he actually ran an archery shop, and started doing work for Bill and all the boys that's how he got in.
That's how you got him a bone collector, yeah.
Yeah, so, he started doing all the work with, for Realtree, and then, met Michael, because he's from Georgia too,
Macon, Georgia.
So they started all of that, got it all going.
Booger Bottom, that's where he's from.
That's right. Yeah, there is no Booger Bottom on the map, but I know exactly where it's at. So, but yeah, so down that way, it's closer to Columbus area, below Noonan, that kind of thing, going out 85 south. But down that way, and then that's how he got in with them, and he did the road trips. Started hanging out and doing some with, and then they started Bone Collector and went from there. So Travis had it's great, and he still got the dojo and still works with it, tinkers with it, and I love him to death. And but we shot together for years and traveled and had a good time. But I turned 50, decided that I wanted to start shooting more tournaments again, right?
What was that? What's the reason behind that?
Just because I turned 50, and I was like, hey, I ain't got to compete with the kids no more.
Yeah.
I ain't got to compete with the kids no more.
Yeah.
that darn Curtis Broadnax ain't no joke, boy. He comes out of the shop too, so he's from Social Circle, so yeah. So I started. That's what put me in Social Circle was I coach. So I'm a level 4 certified coach.
Gotcha.
And I was traveling with a team. Kids were making. I actually had kids competed against Cody, Kobe and Chris B. So because George is a Georgia boy, so I had the kids competing against them in the same time frame. So we came up together where they all shot together and that kind of thing. So it was always cool to see those guys blossom from what they've done. But I was traveling with a team all over and I was out of my pocket, right? I wasn't making no money, but I was out of my pocket. And then the ACE team parents said, we see you at all the tournaments. I was like, yeah, I go to all the tournaments. And so they went back and told the ACE people that, hey, that's the coach we need because he's there at all the tournaments anyway. So that's how I ended up there. So my title there is range manager. So because we have an indoor range, it's got 16 bells across.
Big range. Yeah.
So it's 8 bells, so 16 lanes, and 20 yards, nothing long. But and so I do, JOAD, try archery classes, after school archery, an extra NASP training, not the schools, but just an extra day for them to be able to get another practice and that kind of thing. So that's what I do. But when I turned 50, I was like, I want to get back out there and shoot again. I just, and so I took it on myself to go and shoot and do. And it took a while, right? And then the problem is you're not as good as, you used to be. Not that I'm not bad. It's just that sometimes you can't do the same thing you used to do the younger you are. I don't see the targets like I used to. I don't,
Eyesight's a big thing, man. I think if everyone's eyesight was, as good as it was when they were 20, 25, I think you'd see some
for sure.
Guys in the 50s run amok on some courses,
Oh, yeah.
And they still do. I mean, shoot. Jack Walks has been shooting real good lately. And some of those courses are the same courses that known pro guys are shooting, It's not like it's...
Oh, yeah.
It's not like the senior pro class has a handicap, you could say, to shooting. It's just a pure.
No. But the best part about it was I don't have to stand by Matthias and Curtis and Jimmy and they're a little younger, can hold a little better, and you can miss one and still win. Yes. In the senior class. Yeah. And so I tell George that all the time. George's like, we get the gang back together, because Rio's back. He's hit 50, and Dave Cousins is in the house now. So I mean, we're it's like, man, we just get the whole gang back together and shoot.
I'll tell you what.
Jimmy Butts is on it too.
Yeah, Jimmy Butts. Yeah, I tell you what. I hope when Jesse Broadwater turns 50, I hope he touches it again.
I think he'll touch it again before now. I really do.
Yep. Yeah, I can see it.
I do. But
he's very focused on that point business, right?
He needs to. I mean, no doubt. It's got to. It takes a minute to launch a business. Period. Even though you buy it from somebody else, you still got to put your swag on it, your deal. You got to learn it, just like anything else.
It's not forget, when you own a business, the business also owns you.
Owns you, 100%, no doubt about it. But yeah, man. So tell everybody where they can find you and your face and your beautiful
just go to Easton
videos.
Yeah,
Easton Archery.
Go to Easton Archery. Follow us on Instagram. We try. I can tell you, we're probably the most active from the arrow side of the world on social media. Yep. We're constantly trying to put out stuff on YouTube, whether it's information that we did 10 years ago that we need to bring up and update, or whether it's informational new stuff. And we try to keep a very engaged pro staff and bring them in on podcast and stuff like that. And then we've actually got a really cool podcast. Dan Staten's going to be hopping on. We're going to be talking about how to build a successful Western hunting arrow. That guy's killed more elk than I've probably.
Dan's definitely killed more elk than a little bit. Yep. Yeah. And he is definitely, his videos here lately has been about what arrow I'm going to shoot. It's been great to watch him, to break it down between all of them.
He's stuck between 5.0 and Parallel Pro, and I think he's settled. So I think we're going to figure out what he's going to be rocking. But He loves an AC shaft. Aluminum carbon is hard to beat, man. An AC product is hard to mess with.
For sure, he is. But yeah, I appreciate your time today. I think, maybe you a little bit of an insight. You're on, you came from South Carolina, right? I mean, that's
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
North
Yeah,
Carolina,
I mean, you grew up in North Carolina, I'm assuming. So
yes, sir. Yep.
yeah, so born and raised on this side of the coast. I always tell Greg Poole, he calls this is the East Coast, and that's the other coast. So, but we appreciate the time today.
Welcome,
like I
man.
said, maybe if somebody's looking to buy an inexpensive arrow, they can look at the not talk of quality, talking about price, not quality.
Yeah.
Is the 6.5. If you're trying to go a little bit up, then the 6.0 Sonic, and then going from there, you can get into where you want to be. So you can have a full metal jacket, or a Axis, or even the 5.0 if you want to be light. And
we've got an arrow for everybody at any budget. Yep.
For sure. All right, man. Well, we'll let this thing go. Until next time,
Big John, it's been a
Big
pleasure.
John. Yep, and we'll see you.